Thank you. And first of all, I would like to thank Dimitris and all the staff of the Greek Food Bank, because we had a lot of emails and in the past few weeks to setting up this conference. So I'm really thankful for that. And I would like to thank you all for the attention. And I would start by explaining how it works. My organization is the Italian food bank called Fondazione Banco Alimentare, as you can see for the slide. And then I will talk about, speak about a European project called Life Food Waste Stand Up that we are implementing with several partners for the last 2 years, and that is coming to an end in the summer of 2019. So we are, as you can see by the logo in the upper right angle of my PowerPoint, we are this year celebrating 30 years old, because the Fondazione Banco Alimentare was born in 1989 in Italy, and our mission is to coordinate the Italian network of food banks, because we have 21 regional food banks, one for each Italian region. And our mission, as for FIBA, is to collect foodstuffs that are still perfectly edible, but they haven't lost their commercial value, so they cannot be sold to people and would be destined to destruction. So, thanks to our action, thanks to the action of the food banks in general, we are bringing social, economic, environmental, and educational benefits to society. Social benefits because we are donating free of charge these surpluses food to the charities that helps the one in need, the most vulnerable person. Environmental because we are reducing the CO2 emissions by avoiding the disposal costs in both environmental and financial side for the industries. We give educational benefits because one of our main activities is to raise awareness among communities on how the food waste is a struggle to our society, and how many people there are that maybe need those food surpluses. Then, as I told you, we collect food surpluses, and we distribute it to the charities, and the charities are helping the people, and all our action is aimed to help the people in need. The main supply sources for Banco Alimentare are the food industry, the mass distribution circuits, and the restaurants and catering, where we can recolor cooked food. As I told you, we have 21 branches, 21 regional branches, one for each Italian region. And I'm an employee of Fondazione Banco Alimentare. Our structuring is quite interesting, I think, because we have the foundation, where I came from, that deals with the organizational side of the activity, while the regional branches are on the operational side. So they are implementing the activity, so physically collect the foodstuff and physically redistribute it to the charities and then to the people in need. Those are a few numbers from 2017. I'm sorry I can't give you the update for the 2018, but the numbers are really the same. As I told you, we have 21 regional food banks. We work thanks to the help of a more than 8,000 charitable organization. And I say thanks to the help, because we see the charities as our partners, but the charities really are our first beneficiaries, because we give them the food we collect free of charge. The charities are helping more than 1.5 million people in Italy. The main sources are the production companies, the distribution companies, the restaurants and catering, the EU, thanks to the FED program. The FED program is the European fund to the most deprived people among Europe. And thanks to the food drive. The food drive is a day in November when we collect food stuff from the supermarkets and mass distribution. Those are the channels. In 2017, we recovered and distributed more than 90,000 tons of food surpluses from that channels. I would like to stress out the importance of recovering cooked food from the food service restaurants and catering, because they respond immediately to a primary need that is food, and also because they are a quality food, a food that is not also edible, but cooked by professional chefs. So it's kind of also a social inclusion for the poor. We are helping out. Regarding the FIAT, the channel of the EU, the fund to the most deprived people, in Italy it is we work thanks to the collaboration of the Minister of Labor, and the Minister of Labor is responsible for the FIAT, but the Minister of Labor gives the food stuff to the charities and to the organization as Banco Alimentare. What I told you about the Food Drive Day in Italy, I will tell you about the Food Drive Day in Italy because I think it's a really important activity and one of our main activities, because we collect some 10% of our total number thanks to these activities. Over the years, the Colletta Alimentare, as we called it in Italian, has become an important day for the old population, for the old Italian population, because it has a dual purpose. On one side, we, of course, are implementing these activities to collect food stuff for the poor, and on the other side, we are doing it to raise the awareness among the population about the food poverty and the food waste. In 2018, we collected more than 80,000 tons of food, thanks to 145,000 volunteers acting all over Italy, because we implement the activity in all the 21 regions in Italy, in more than 50,000 supermarkets. And thanks to more than 5 million of Italians have participated to this day that is so important to us. These are some of the photos of the Colletta, and the first group at the left are the best volunteers from last year. I will now give you some context about the Italian context. I think Italian and Greek context can be similar on some points. After the financial crisis in 2007, the poor-related situation among Italy has worsened, and in the people who is affected most by the crisis are the elders living alone, the family with more than 2 children and just 1 income, unemployed people or people who are looking for jobs, that is 30% of the Italian population, the parents after the divorce, and of course migrants and refugees. What are we doing to respond to their needs? Food is a primary need, so what we do is to give a daily food support, what we call Banco Alimentare in Italy, to work with charitable organizations as the welcoming houses or the residential communities, and In Italy, volunteer is very important. In fact, we have more than 50,000 organizations volunteering, helping people in need. Of those 50,000, we work with more than 50% of them because we have a partnership with more than 80,000 charities all over Italy. Those are some of the data from 2017. In Italy, we waste 5.6 million tons of food each year. 57% of this wasted food is produced by the industry, the mass distribution industry and the producing industry, while the remaining 43% is made by family, by the private consumption. But we noticed that after 2013, the food waste is decreased by 5% to 2018 in Italy, also thanks to a law that is called Legge Gatta in Italy, that I will explain before, I will explain after this presentation when I will speak about the LIFE program. We think that one of our main activity is to let the food donors comprehend why is it important to food, to donate the food surpluses or donate food in general. And so we stressed out cite some key factors for the food donors to be attended to have an efficient activity about this. We think that the food donation is gotta be a corporate committee, so it's not just because one of the employees wants to do this kind of stuff, but it requires a management role in the organization of the activities. Those the food donations can create a better a better collaboration between the different areas for the company, because each one of the company functions has to be involved in the operational dynamics in order to simplify it. And we think also that for the employees to know, to be aware that his work is helping those in need becomes a key motivation to bring on the activity. So why donate food surpluses? Because it generates corporate culture, because if the food recovery becomes a company strategy, there are going to be operational procedures and a corporate culture that is made by the activity, because it builds co-responsibility between the different company functions and not just the corporate social responsibility one, and because each phase of the product management can benefit from the awareness about the importance of not producing food waste, and in case the food waste is produced, the importance of giving it to the poor people. So the value of the food support for us is that it gives you a primary response to the needs of people, because it's a first step to a social inclusion process, because by responding to the primary needs, people can concentrate on the other struggle in their lives, and because, as I told you before, it produces the four kind of benefits: social, economic, environmental, and educational for all the society. We stress out some key factors also for the charitable organizations we are working with, not just for the food donors, because it is really important for the charities involved in activities to be structured as much as possible to implement efficiently the activity. So the charities has to have a reliability, so logical capabilities, structured services, and they have to be efficient. They have to have the ability to talk to peers, so to build up a professional relationship between us. We have to subscribe some collaboration agreements, and the food is gotta be safe in the charities. So they have to offer appropriate health standards to protect the final consumer we are giving the food to. So to conclude, our vision is that the recovery of food surplus is a cultural challenge, not only in Italy, but among Europe and among the whole world, because it should be the last stage of the production chain. It is an active sharing of part of the total production in the industries, and a fully integrated phase in business process with equally dignity to the other one. Should not be just an alternative way to disposal of surpluses, not just because the industry wants to reduce the cost of disposals, but it has to be, I don't know, a feeling under it. And should not be entrusted to the heroism of a manager, of one of the employees of the organization, but it has to be a cultural challenge for the whole company, because we think that giving a second life to food surpluses is social responsibility.